As a child, she always taught me not to hurt my friends emotionally, most especially women. She kept repeating to me that and she kept repeating that to me. Okay. Now it says, when I completed secondary school, I made a promise to her that I will forever in my life respect women and won't do anything to hurt them emotionally. From childhood to adulthood, I never had a friend apart from my mother until I met my wife. My mom introduced her to me. My wife's mother and my mother had been friends since childhood. We began to admire each other, dated for 2 months, and eventually got married in May last year. When we got home after the wedding, I realized that when I touch my wife, she becomes uncomfortable. Even if I put my hands on her neck, she put up this weird attitude of not feeling at ease. I began to worry about that, so I spoke with her, and she didn't give any reasons for doing so. I said to myself, maybe I've wronged her in a way I haven't noticed. So I knelt in front of her one evening and begged her to forgive me if I've wronged her unknowingly. She told me there's nothing to be sorry for because I haven't done anything to her. I then asked her what I can do for her to be happy because she hasn't been herself for a while now. She asked me to buy her a Land Rover Discovery and she will be happy. I did that the next day, got her the car, and I was thinking for the first time my wife will allow me to sleep with her. But that evening too, she denied me. I realized maybe I'm putting too much pressure on her to have sex with me, so I apologized to her for trying. That was the second time in our 6 months of marriage that I asked for it and was turned down. Because I don't want to feel bad about putting people into emotional situations, I've stopped asking for sex, and I have attempted that since July. Truth be told, sometimes I have to deeply control myself because it's not easy. When I'm in the mood, I can't control myself. I go to the hall just to play a basketball game to take my mind off it. Now it's become normal to me that no matter what, I will not have the chance to have intimacy with my wife, and I have accepted it. Now this story is long, but indulge us. Just this 2 weeks ago, I overheard her conversation on the phone with her mum, and I quote, "Mummy, what you told me is very true. Alfred is very weak and soft. Anytime I put on a sad look, he'll be worried the whole day and will start begging me to forgive him, knowing very well he hasn't done anything. I make a request, and guess what? He won't think twice about it, and he'll get it for me. He bought me a Land Rover Discovery 2 months ago, and I have given it to my fiancé. I told him I have sold it because I don't fancy the color anymore. I demanded a Toyota Prado, and he got me that one too after 1 week. I gave it to my fiancé because he demanded it. Mummy, Alfred is very weak. I've never seen him get angry before. He's always smiling. I will use his weakness to be free always." End of quote. When I heard this, I called my mom, asked her if she had had a conversation with my wife concerning my personality. That was when my mom told me she remembers having a conversation with my wife's mother about me. She wanted to know me more before introducing me to her daughter, so she told her everything about me. I didn't tell Mummy why I asked her those questions. I only told her I noticed my wife talks to her mother very often, and she's always praising me to her mother. Please, I don't know how to break the news to my mother because I'm afraid of her reaction, knowing very well that she has hypertension. Secondly, I'm thinking of a divorce, but I'm also scared of the emotional state of my wife if I tell her I need a divorce. Sisters, advise me on what to do because I'm really suffering within. Whew. This is one of the longest messages we've read on the show, and it's almost unbelievable. Ceci, should I come to you? What do you make of all that you've heard today?
I'm shocked. Wow. Just wow. It's sad.
Yeah.
People want men like this, and they are not getting. You have got, and you are milking him.
Right.
Okay, so it's obvious that this woman does not care about her husband. There was nothing wrong with his upbringing. What his mom taught him was a very valuable lesson. But he needs to be able to make adjustments as things progress. Because you can't say that your mom told you that don't inflict pain emotionally on any woman. So if she's inflicting pain on you, you just sit there and take it. And after all that you heard, you were still worried about breaking divorce news to her because you are worried about her emotional state.
He's such a sweetheart.
He's such a sweet person.
Yeah.
Sweet, but I think he needs to work on himself, because if you think you deserve this kind of treatment, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. He needs to seek help, because I think that he has a bit of, I don't know whether to say self-esteem issues. Because no one should think he deserves this kind of treatment, right? Because marriage is a long journey. So you can't say that you have stopped asking for sex and you are used to it and you are willing to stay in the marriage like that. Okay, so all I can say is it's obvious that your wife and her mom plotted against you. They got to know the kind of person that you were, and they decided to prey on that. That is wrong. You don't deserve that kind of woman in your life, because you won't go anywhere. You won't. He bought a what?
Land Rover.
Land Rover, and then after 1 week,
some other car like
Prado.
Prado.
Wow.
Toyota Prado.
And she gave it to her fiance. She didn't even say boyfriend or fiance. So which means that she's very serious with this guy.
Yes. She probably has plans of marrying him.
Oh, sweetheart. You are in the wrong place. You are a really good person, but you are in the wrong place. He doesn't deserve to be in this marriage. He needs to muster all the courage that he can, because this woman does not care about you. So it's difficult, but you should try to think about yourself first, because you also matter. She's preyed on you. It's not fair. So you need to gather the courage and then walk out of the marriage. Work on yourself, heal. And you only knew her for 2 months because your mom recommended her. You trusted your mom's judgment. Obviously, it was the wrong choice. And you should try, going forward, you should try to get to know the person a bit more. Because 2 months is a short time to, get married. Because marriage, Charlie, is a different ballgame. So please, this marriage, no. The marriage has not even been consummated.
Right. Well, yeah. That's so sad. So he wants to know whether he should tell his mother what's going on. He's scared that she has hypertension.
He knows his mother best. So he needs to get out of the marriage. So he needs to find a way of making it known to his mom that he's not happy in the marriage, that he's been subjected to abuse. This is a form of emotional abuse.
And financial.
Yes. He's been abused. So he needs to make his mom understand. So if any woman who cares about her son will support his decision. So he should find a way of telling his mom, because it's not healthy for him to keep being in this marriage.
Let me bring in Sabby from Joburg. What's going on? What's going on? What's going through your mind?
A lot. This is all kinds of messed up. I'm trying to remember everything because there was a lot going on in this thing. So I might start from the bottom to the top, but I try to retain. The first thing is, I feel like this man's growth is incredibly stunted. I find it interesting that he latched on to one thing that his mother said, and he believed it to mean something else. And what he believed it to mean is, at any cost, he will not make any woman feel uncomfortable, be upset, be hurt, etc. I don't think this guy has ever considered himself in regards to who am I? What do I want out of my life? What kind of marriage do I want? What kind of wife would I want? What kind of, all of these things. I think he's been so centered on his mother. It would be interesting to know if he's an only child or how many children are there and what the dynamic in the family is. But he's a people pleaser, and a people pleaser in the most unhealthiest of ways. He got married to this woman within 2 months. He didn't know her. So we can essentially say that this was an arranged marriage.
Right.
That's how much he trusts his mother and his mother's opinion. He didn't know this woman. And let me tell you now, from the statement that woman made to her mother, it's a definite thing that the moms, because the moms are friends, the wife's mother understood immediately that the daughter would be able to get everything she needs from this marriage. And she made it a point that her daughter marries him. So without him even worried about telling his mom, let him think about it this way, without him even being worried about his mother, how the mother has hypertension, how the mother feels. The fact that his wife is calling another man her fiance, the fact that this woman is calling another man her fiance, it should already tell him that she will not be married to him for long. She's going to try and suck him dry and then move on. And I find it so funny because she's saying, this guy says in the letter that the woman said she can't deny her fiance anything, which is exactly what he is to her. And I wouldn't be surprised if when she can't give her so-called fiance what he wants, he will walk away too. Anyway, we don't care about them. I just want this guy to recognize something. And as someone personally, this is touching me deep in my heart. As someone who just recovered from COVID and who understands that we're living in a pandemic. What does that mean? That means that life is sacred. That everything that we go through now, man, we must grab it by both hands. If this guy had to die right now, would he be happy with the way his life is? I can guarantee you that it would be, no, I would not be. Nothing is worth this misery. He should ask himself, why is it so easy to be buying a woman 2 cars? Because
in 1 week. In 1 week.
I don't even care about the wife. I'm not even thinking about the mother. He needs to do a nice long Usain Bolt sprint to a therapist.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel your frustration because it's that ridiculous. Olivia, let me hear what you have to say.
Oh my goodness. Listening to Tabby, my goodness. Like, I totally feel her pain, and I can imagine how she's feeling right now. Because, like, she's done it for me. You know that part where I go like, oh my goodness, yeah, she's done it for me. But just to add to what the ladies have said, this guy needs a lot of help. He needs psychological help. It's interesting. I don't know what his mom went through, considering the fact that he did mention that he's a single, he's an only child. So I don't know. Maybe he had a few, like he and his mom growing up, they had a bit of struggles here and there. Maybe his dad was terrible, like treated his mom terribly. So I think it's in him, it's on his mind, and he's constantly lived. And the whole, like from childhood, hearing that over and over and over again, don't treat women, mistreat women, the happiness of women, it should be your priority. Don't do this or don't do that. I can imagine him hearing that all his life to date. But you see, sometimes we as parents, as much as we don't want our children to make mistakes, it's okay for us to allow them. It's okay for us to have opinions, but we can't like completely like brainwash them, because that's what she's done to this boy. She hasn't given this boy the opportunity to think, to make decisions on his own. And the fact that he didn't even mention anything about being in a relationship prior his mom introducing him to a convenient relationship, which is his mom's friend. So it's like whatever mom Mommy says, it's good to go. Yes, ma'am. Mommy says, jump. He's like, Mommy, how high? Mommy says this. Mommy says that. And it's so sad. Gentlemen, I think you need to really grow up. Okay, like Sabni said, I think you really need, you actually do need help. Not I think, you need help. You need to speak to a counselor. You need to speak to a therapist. You need to sort of get rewired. Okay, there's right and there's wrong. Okay, as much as you don't want to hurt the feelings of women, you should be able to decipher right from wrong. When women are treating you right, okay, to every action, there's a reaction. When they're treating you right, you treat them right in return. When they respect you, you respect them in return. And I don't even know how you even thought that it was okay, or based on what did you actually conclude on marrying this girl? Because you touched her, right? You put your arms around her neck, and she's like, no, don't touch me. So I'm just wondering, within the 2 months, what were you guys talking about? How do you know that you were intimately even attracted to each other? Based on what did you even actually agree to marry this girl? Was it clearly it was based on what your mom said? But there's some basic things, my dear, that you need to get right. When you find somebody who loves you for who they are, they are attracted to you, they like you, they want to be in your space 24/7, and they don't call their mothers up and tell their mothers that this guy is a weak guy, and and they don't also, especially when they marry you, they don't have fiancés when they are married to you. Now all of that is a no. Like, you don't need to be worried about this girl's feelings right now. Technically, this girl has broken your heart. You have this information on your heart, you're thinking about it, you're brooding over it, and you're still worried about hurting her emotions, hurting her feelings. Does she care about the fact that she doesn't give you sex, I won't even call it sex in the confines of marriage. She doesn't make love to you, or she doesn't give you the opportunity even to make love to her. And all of that is needed in order to sort of bridge, make the marriage work. It brings both of you together. So for her, that's not even important. And if she's not giving it to you, who is she giving it to? Clearly, she's giving it to the fiancé. And I also worry about the fact that she sold her car because she didn't like the color. She had the nerve and the audacity to tell you that she didn't like the color, and she had sold it, and you were still okay with it. And we're having this conversation. Sweetheart, I'm sorry, she doesn't like you, she doesn't love you, and she's not going to love you. People who love you don't treat you like that. If I were you, moving on, I wouldn't even discuss this with mom. I won't just go to mommy again. I will man up, right? Find a lawyer. Me, the fact that you're even dishing out money for her, for me, I have a big problem with it because she doesn't love you. She's probably giving it to her boyfriend. No, her fiancé. It means that she is even thinking about marrying this guy. She has actually said yes to this guy and is on standby to marry this guy. So technically, what's your status, my guy? You don't have one. So I wouldn't have this conversation with mommy. I'll go and find a lawyer. Speak to this lawyer, find out how I can divorce this girl without a penny. Divorce her, make sure that she goes with nothing, and afterwards have a conversation with mommy. And that is all part of growing up and manning up and owning your life, my guy. And moving on, Charlie, it has to be hand go, hand come. You treat people with love and they reciprocate. They don't do this to you. And find a therapist, like we're all saying, somebody to sort of rewire how things should be. But love should definitely not be like this. And please, as soon as possible, find somebody and just get out of the relationship. It's not worth it. And it's sad because don't go to mommy. I know it's very tempting, but don't go to mommy because mommy and this other woman are friends. The tendency that they would try to convince you to stay is very high. And I don't think this girl will ever love you. And every marriage is based on love, respect, understanding, and communication. And you definitely don't have that. Don't marry her and have kids brought into this mess. Move on, my guy.
Am I the only one who's triggered that a grown man is calling his mother mommy?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Come on, let's not go there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Anyway, see, this story makes me feel two things. I want to hug Alfred. One, because he has my brother's name. And he's a sweetheart. It's so obvious. Like, we're listening to him. We cannot believe some of the things you're doing for your so-called wife, even after, 6 months or so? But on the other hand, I want to also shake you and say, wake up, because you seem like you're in a dream, in a trance. Like, you've almost, like, voodoo. Like, have you heard about, like, I feel like they've done something to him. Because it doesn't make sense. Love your neighbor as yourself, but not more than yourself, right? I feel like, and I'm not sure how he got here, because of the way we all sort of grew up, and we know when people are just taking advantage of us. We can tell almost immediately. Exactly. And even if you can't tell, there are a few signs that for me are glaring right here in this story that you've sent us that should let you know that this woman, one, is not your wife. She hasn't even allowed you to sleep with her since you got married. So technically, just on those grounds, you can file for divorce. You can annul the marriage. You can make it void. The law backs that. Okay, that's one. And this fiance, like, you actually, the guy heard his wife talk to her mother about a fiance, like, and you had the time to even sit down and type this to sister. Like, I would have been out of there. Better yet, she would be out of my house if that's what's happening. I mean, how disrespectful can that be? And you buy her 2 cars in 1 week. I don't want to belabor the point, because I feel like the girls have already touched on it. But trust me, this situation you're in is ridiculous. There are better women out there who will value you for who you are. You do not have to settle. Trust me, Charlie, do you know how many of my viewers right now are wishing they were your wives? No, seriously. Unbelievable. And she's treating you like this. And last, let me hit this nail on the head. Last thing is, you say that your mother and her mother were friends, childhood friends. And her mother knows about all that's happening. I don't think she's really a friend. She can't be a friend to your mother. So if for nothing at all, maybe you're saying your mom is hypertensive. You don't want to tell her about her marriage, but find a way to let her know that is not a friend. Friends don't treat other friends like that.
True.
Charlie.
True.
Thank you so much for watching Sister on your favorite Citi TV. Now, don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the Citi Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates. Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.